Looks like it is that time. Good to see everybody. Welcome to our February 11th, 2021 Zoom meeting. This is a milestone. We're at number 40 now. So hopefully by number 50, we're back to hybrid meetings. I think that's a pretty good goal anyway. Let's see, let's see if Laura Kimberly is on here. Laura, are you on? Yeah. Let's see, Diane, would you mind leading us in the pledge?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, one republic, as it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, Diane, much appreciated. Let's see, it looks like we have a few guests. I see our speaker for today, who I'll introduce here in just a few minutes. And I know we have at least one of our students of the month I saw on here too. Anybody have any other guests they'd like to introduce? No? I see our new Rotarians, Gretchen and Brian, welcome. Good to see you here. Let's see, a couple announcements. I was going to turn it over to Laura to talk about our happy hour next week. We'll get to that towards the end of the meeting. Yesterday we had a great vocational lunch group. We got to learn all about Sonia Graham and her interests and career. That was really a great meeting. We supported La Maison too, so it's always nice to support the local restaurants when we do these vocational meetings. So next month is Wednesday, March 10th at noon. And next month is Sylvia Polly is going to talk a little bit about herself. So mark that on your calendars, and it's a lot of fun. So again, that's 4 weeks from yesterday, March 10th at noon. So I mentioned next Thursday, there will be no noon meeting. Instead, we'll be having our first ever Zoom happy hour. And boy, community service has been busy. Sylvia's been collecting donations. Would you like to talk a bit about that, Sylvia?
Yes, and it'll be kind of brief because sadly there was not the participation I would have liked to have gotten. Freddie, pretty much everything at your office was everything except for about 10 cards from kids at Alala who did cards, so those will go out. So I think about 6 Rotarians contributed 25 cards. I wrote furiously last night so we could meet the request of 48 for the Waldport Meals on Wheels. I contacted Charlotte Denault from Newport, and she said since I had maybe 50 cards, it was better to send them to Waldport than just have half of her people get cards. They might talk to each other. The idea is to have them feel good by feeling included and not have half the group feel left out. So for those who did write, thank you very much. I appreciate it. If it's something that people would be interested in doing later, let me know. I thought maybe it would be nice to have something that was participation and not just writing a check, but maybe others don't feel the same way. Some do. The school supply drive, we got some items for those, and I'll be dropping those off at the help center. So there will be some that are available for kids who do need supplies. So thank you for those who contributed. Our next project will likely be some sort of outdoor planting work. And we're also working on the dictionary project to get some dictionaries to kids, likely with some sort of a Spanish component. So thank you. That's what's going on with community service.
All right. Well, thanks, Sylvia. Great work. And I see Laura is on now. Laura, I was going to have you talk a little bit about our inaugural happy hour next week.
Yes, it is scheduled from 6 to 7 p.m. on Zoom. John's going to send out a reminder email, but one thing that we wanted to make sure that everybody's aware of, to make sure that you have the latest version of Zoom. because I guess it was updated 3 months ago. So just make sure you have the latest version of Zoom, and he'll put that in the email reminder. We're going to have 3 breakout rooms. 2 of them are going to be for chit chatting. One's going to be a topic focused room. The other one's not going to be a topic focused room. And then the 3rd room is going to be trivia. And you're going to be able to self-select which room you want to be in. And we're going to swap 3 times. It should be a lot of fun. You're responsible for your own drinks. And then it'd be good for you to have a piece of paper and a pencil if you're going to be participating in trivia, and they'll be on the honor system.
All right. Well, thanks, Laura. That sounds like fun. BYOB, huh? All right. So I have an award to present today. Rotarians associate the naming of a Paul Harris Fellow as a tribute to a person who has demonstrated a shared purpose and support for the educational and humanitarian objectives of the Rotary Foundation. The recognition is named after Rotary's founder, the late Paul Harris, a Chicago lawyer who started Rotary with 3 business associates in 1905. A world of goodwill and better understanding comes closer to reality today because Guy Faust has made a substantial donation to the Rotary Foundation. In being presented with a Paul Harris Fellow +5 recognition, Guy Faust joins a remarkable company of people throughout the world, all recognized for their commitment to service above self to benefit local and international communities. So I actually get to present this pin to him in person here today because he's just an office away. But congratulations, Guy, for your Paul Harris +5. Good job. Let's see. Anybody have any other announcements before we move on? I don't see any. Okay. So a few things from today in history. 1942, U.S. General Eisenhower was selected to command the Allied armies in Europe. British General Montgomery was none too pleased. That'd be a good one for John Baker if he was here. He'd like that one. 1966, San Francisco giant Willie Mays signs the then highest contract in history at $130,000 per year. Pro athlete salaries have come a long way since. I think last year Roger Federer earned $106 million, which is over 800 times what Mays earned in 1966. And finally, 2016, the last of the Oregon militia occupying the Malheur Wildlife Refuge surrendered to authorities after 41 days. Hard to believe that was just 5 years ago. Seems like 2. Let's see, with that, I think I will turn things over to our Sergeant at Arms, Bob.
Oh, there, Rotarians.
Hi, Bob.
How's everybody? Hey, has anybody got any good Super Bowl stories? Wasn't that quite a game? Did anybody watch? Oh, Richard. Richard, you're pointing the wrong way. What happened?
I was voting for anybody but Tom Brady.
Oh, well, you missed that one. Strangler, have you got anything to say about the Super Bowl?
Only that, seeing a guy like Brady do so well out there gives hope to us older fellows,
My golly, that's the way I felt. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty fun Super Bowl. Loretta, where have you been? I hate to ask you that question. Where have you been in the long term, not the short term?
Good job, Bob. Working.
Oh, really?
Trying to find houses that don't exist for buyers who are everywhere.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah, Freddie and I are in the same boat these days. It's a tough world out there.
It is a tough world. Now you take Mary Kay, and she doesn't think it's so tough, though. She's got secrets she won't even tell people.
Oh,
and
no.
I haven't told anyone.
I am so glad I came to Rotary today, Bob.
I'm glad you came too.
Because I've
I'll tell you,
missed
this is
you.
a tough show here.
I have so missed you, but I do appreciate your keeping my deep, dark secret. That again, maybe we should have a raffle and see if people can guess, or a pool and see if people can guess what it is.
Yeah, we could do that because I tell you, money talks. Yeah.
We'll
And
work
so
on
far,
that.
I've got no money, so I'm not talking, but I could be swayed. We'll work on that.
Yeah.
Has anybody got any happy dollars? Strangler, you just told me you were happy about Tampa and Brady and all this, so you've got at least a happy dollar out there, don't you?
Yeah, I was once again, I was happy to see old age prevail. So I'll be $5 happy for that.
Hey, great. Wendell, he keeps showing me his fingers like, have you forgot what they look like yet? Have you forgot? So he must be happy he's here. But,
Hey,
oh, that's
Bob.
right. We can't charge him. That's right.
Hey,
Okay.
Bob, I'll give 10 happy bucks. My hubby got his first shot of the vaccine, and we'll get round number 2 next week.
What day next week?
He gets it next Friday. So we're planning on him being very sick on Saturday because apparently no bad.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's not a very happy experience.
Yeah,
Hey,
he
hey,
does.
Bob, I have some
Yeah.
happy dollars too when you get a chance.
I've got a chance. I got time right now.
Okay, I would like to donate $50 to my Paul Harris. I became a grandpa for the second time on Saturday, so that's
Oh
exciting.
my.
Little Covey Marie,
Uh-huh. Mom and baby are doing fine.
doing great.
Good, good. Well, welcome to the grandpa crowd. Yeah,
Hey, it's a lot better than being a parent.
good point. Very good. Yeah. Any other happy dollars out there? Dee, for coming in late, you got to tell us a happy story for yourself.
I know. I'm sorry I was late. I am so happy and grateful for Jeff Outerkirk donating split firewood, Sitka spruce to our outdoor program. So I'll be $10 happy.
Oh, wow. You know, is there any other happy dollars out there? Now, I find this quite strange. But according to my schedule here, Keith and Diane had an anniversary on the 6th, and neither one of them seems very happy about it. What's going on? Diane, you want to tell us?
I'm extremely happy.
Why do I have
Extremely
to
happy.
pry these words out of your mouth? I got to
Because
get
I'm just
Wendell's
such a-
fingers in your mouth and get words out of your mouth. Well,
Just
tell us
because
more.
I'm such a quiet, shy person.
That's not what I've noticed. No. No,
I am married to my best friend. We've been married for 19 years, and I'm extremely happy about it. I will have $19 go to my Paul Harris as a result of that.
My. Oh my. Well, thank you. Keith, give us your version now of the last 19 years.
Well, it's been great, Bob, of course. It
Yeah.
couldn't possibly be any other way. So I'd be that same $19 happy for those 19 years. And I'm going to throw in another 50.
Holy
because
cow.
I'm just happy. I'm pretty happy. I'm not looking at the ocean from sea level. The jump off Joe, as you might have seen, has a little bit of earth movement. So we're getting a little preliminary practice for Great Cascadia. And we really didn't need that practice. So I'll be a total of $69 happy.
Well, great. That sounds wonderful. Thank you very much. And happy anniversary to you too. Yeah. We've got some other people with the years for membership anniversary. Now, Signy's not here, is she? Is she? Not here. Well, Guy Faust, now this, by golly, Guy is going to give you, we're going to send you a $1 bill. How long have you been a member?
Bob Signy is here.
Huh?
20 something.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Well, 20 something, 25 years. Congratulations.
Quarter century.
Let's see, what else we got? Hey, nobody else is here today. Megan,
Signe?
you're not
Bob.
here.
Signy's here, Bob.
Bob Signey is here. She's trying to talk to you.
Signe, wherever you are, how long have you been a member? Whoa. John, do something. We can't hear Signe. Well, let me just tell you, Signe's been a member for 30 years. Yeah, wow. And that looks like the only people that are here. Oh, Freddie's here. Freddie, how long have you been a member?
Well, it must be about, I don't know, probably 4 years, 5 years.
You sitting down?
I'm sitting.
7 years.
Wow, time flies when you're having fun.
Oh, absolutely. Dave Heater? Dave, how long have you been a member? Dave?
6 years.
How many?
6.
Well, wrong again. 7 years. Wow. Man, you guys look so old. I mean, you guys look so young. Well, that's about it. Any other happy dollars or anybody want to say something? Sylvia, you look like you're right on the verge of saying something. You're going to just be happy not saying anything. Okay. All right. All right, Freddie, I'm turning her back over to you.
All right, thank you, Bob. And happy anniversary to Keith and Diane. It's always a lucrative fundraiser when we have married couples in the club. Double the money, so that's perfect. All right, we'll go ahead and move into our program today, and I'd like to introduce our guest. We have Chief Murphy with Newport Fire Department with us today. Chief Murphy is a 5th generation Oregonian who was born in Eugene and raised in Springfield. He's been in the fire service for over 23 years and earned an Associates of Applied Science degree in fire protection and a paramedic certification from Chemeketa Community College. He joined the Newport Fire Department as a volunteer in 2003, was hired as a relief engineer training officer in 2007, and promoted to assistant chief in 2011. He was promoted to fire chief in 2015 and has been serving in that capacity for just over 6 years now. Chief Murphy lives in Newport with his wife Judy and has 1 grown son and 2 granddaughters. So welcome, Rob, Chief Murphy.
Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for having me and for inviting me to speak to your group. I'm not sure where you got all that information, but it was pretty much correct. Anyways, it's a pleasure to speak with the group today. I'm going to talk about the Newport Fire Department, give you a little summary as to what we do and talk about what we've been working on. So, and then I'll give some time if people have any questions at the end. So Newport Fire Department, we have been in existence since, I'm looking at my cheat sheet here, May 4th, 1885. It was when it started as Newport Hook and Ladder Company number 1. And so we're almost as old as the city. The city's a little older, a few years older than the department is. Started off as a bucket brigade. I think one of the things that I'm proud of is that the fire department still has our very first and second fire truck. Actually, the first fire truck is not even a truck. It's a hand pumper that was pulled by hand. Sits in the lobby of our fire station. If any of you have ever been to our main fire station on Northwest 10th Street, you've seen it. Was lovingly restored by our members back in the late 70s. We also have our first motorized vehicle as well, which is a Howard Cooper, and we keep that up at our North Station. So just real quick about Newport Fire Department. We are, as the name implies, we are a department of the city of Newport, but we actually also protect not just the city of Newport, but Newport Rural Fire Protection District. So that's the greater Newport area. through a contract with the rural district. We provide services all the way down almost to Ona Beach, in Southeast 148th Street. We go north up to the Spencer Creek Bridge, actually just north of that, in Beverly Beach, sorry. And we go east out Highway 20 to milepost 3.2 and out the Bay Road to milepost 6.2. So we have about 25 square miles in our district. We are a fairly busy department. We last year ran just under 2,000 calls a year, which was a slight decrease, about 14% from the year before, mainly due to COVID and some of the restrictions we put on some of the calls that we run for COVID. We were what's known as a combination fire department, and that means that we have both staff and volunteers. A lot of people don't realize that they think fire departments are all paid, and actually the majority of fire departments, both in Oregon and in the country, are not. They're actually, and firefighters in the U.S. are about 2/3 volunteer and 1/3 paid. So we have a staff of 11 with 3 firefighters on duty for each shift. Our shifts, we have 3 shifts. We call them A, B, and C shift. Fire services isn't too original. We use numbers and letters a lot. And so we have 3 shifts with a captain, an engineer, which is an old term that we use for people who drive the fire apparatus. They're referred to as engineers, and then a firefighter per shift. There's also assistant chief fire marshal. His name's Bob Harvey, and then myself as the chief, and we also have an executive assistant. And we have about 30 volunteers that are part of our department, and our volunteers play a number of different roles from fighting fire. We have volunteers that are support volunteers that don't fight fire, but they help us in other ways, such as responding on EMS calls, helping in the office. We have a support volunteer that's a photographer, Vern Bartley, who's phenomenal. So we have some people who do some specialized stuff for us as well. The fire department is not just about fighting fires. It's actually our most common call is actually a medical call. So all of our staff and a number of our volunteers are also EMTs. And so about 80% of the calls we run on are medical calls. We also, obviously we respond to fires, but we also respond to motor vehicle accidents, to rescues. If anybody gets hurt on the beach, we're the ones that go on the beach and get people off the beach. We respond to hazardous materials incidents. We also, we do a lot of work with fire prevention. Our fire marshal, Bob Harvey, is the main person responsible for conducting fire inspections and fire investigations for Newport. We also participate a lot in emergency management. So as kind of already been mentioned about Cascadia, you know, all of us know about the threat of Cascadia. We are very much involved in the city's preparations for Cascadia and for all major events. I know one of the things that's on a lot of people's mind that happened this past fall in September was the Echo Mountain Complex fire, and it had a major effect. That was, while the weather event that led up to that was unusual, we have been seeing the trends of increased fire danger in our summer months, typically August and September for here on the coast. We've been seeing those progressively getting worse. Just wanted to check real quick. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay, we're good. So the Echo Mountain Complex fire, for those of you who like statistics, it was about 2,500 acres. Probably the active burning was over a period of about 2.5 days. And unfortunately, it destroyed about 293 residential structures. And most of those were that happened in the first 24 hours. It was a major response, the largest response that we've had that I can remember in Lincoln County. Every fire agency in Lincoln County, and actually fire agencies from all around the area. We had fire agencies from Tillamook, Yamhill, Polk, and Benton County all give us help, which was remarkable because, as I'm sure most of you remember, we were not the only fire. In fact, we were just one of many. There was fires all throughout Oregon during that time period, and resources were stretched to the absolute limit and beyond, really. So the fact that we were able to get the help we did get was pretty amazing, and we were very grateful for it. Obviously, it's had a devastating effect to the community of Otis and Rose Lodge, but they are in the act of rebuilding. We've had some lessons learned from that. I think overall the response was good, but we definitely, there's always ways we can improve. We've had several after action meetings and reports that have been done to help us learn those lessons from it. As far as things that the fire department's been working on, so we've been working on getting some new apparatus. We have a request in for this next budget year to purchase a new fire engine. We try and replace our fire engines about every 20 years. Currently our oldest engine is 27 years old, and it's due for replacement. We also have other equipment that we have that's kind of timed out for needing to be replaced. We are also, unfortunately, as I'm sure many of you know, the city had to make some budget cuts this last fiscal year due to reduction of revenues due to COVID. It does look like the city's financial picture is looking better. And so we hope to be able to restore some positions. We had to cut 1.5 positions out of the fire department, and we're hoping to get one of those back. And that's the emergency preparedness coordinator for the city. So that's our goal for this next fiscal year. The other major thing that we are working on is we are starting to have discussions with our Rural Fire Protection District and our neighboring agency to the north of us, Depot Bay Fire District, and looking at the possibility of consolidation or merger with those agencies. It's in the early stages. We've been given the go-ahead by our governing bodies to start exploring that possibility. The main reason for looking at that is to stabilize funding for fire services, to be able to provide adequate number of personnel. One of the challenges that we have, and fire service in general has, is retention of volunteers and volunteer participation. As the requirements grow, as our call volume grows, it becomes harder and harder for volunteers to maintain their certifications, to be able to respond to emergencies. And we find the need to increase our staffing. And of course, that requires either an increase in revenue or a decrease in other expenses, especially when you're a city department. So one of the ways that we can help stabilize funding is to move out from the city and form a new district for fire protection for the Newport area. So we're early in that journey and just starting down the road of what that may look like. So there'll be more to come to that in the future. With that, I think I've talked a lot, and if anybody in the group has any questions, I'd love to be able to answer them. So again, thank you for allowing me to be here and ask away. Thanks.
I have a question.
Yes.
So you mentioned that you're seeing more and more fires in the coastal area or expecting there, the conditions are. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Like,
Sure, you bet. So we've seen really over probably a 5 to 10 year period, especially within the last 5 years, that we're seeing our summers get drier. We're seeing one of the things that we really look at for wildland firefighting is what's known as fuel moisture. Dead fuels, anything from grass to big logs, and measure fuel moisture content. How much is in there? And as you can imagine, here on the coast, our driest part of the year is August and into September before the rains come. And we are seeing fuel moisture levels continue to decrease and decrease during those timeframes. I'd say of the past 4 years, all but 2019 had very low fuel moisture levels, and we were seeing increased fire activity. We were seeing increased fire growth, number of fires, acres burned in our coastal region continue to increase. And when I talk to other fire chiefs, I talk to the folks at Oregon Department of Forestry, we see no reason to think that that's going to go away anytime soon. We think that that's here with us for the foreseeable future. And besides Echo Mountain, I would point to the fire they had just outside of Florence earlier this year. We also, if you look at the Chetco Bar fire down outside of Brookings, that burned hundreds of thousands of acres. One of the things that I think a lot of folks don't realize is wildfire actually has a very long history along the Oregon coast. And in fact, we have had some of the largest wildfires in Oregon history have been on the Oregon coast, including there were 2 fires in the 1840s, the Quinta fires that burned 500,000 acres, literally burned from Blodgett all the way to the ocean, and burned about half of what's now Lincoln County. Also, think of the Tillamook burns. Tillamook burns were a series of burns that occurred in the 20s and 30s. They were actually a series of 5 burns that occurred 5 years apart, and burned several 100,000 acres overall. So one of the things that we have challenges here on the Oregon coast is that while we don't get the amount of fire and the frequency of fire that, say, California does or other parts of the West, our challenges are that we have a very high fuel load. Obviously, our forests are very dense, and there's a lot of fuel to burn. Also, our terrain and our access is extremely limited. And that was one of the challenges we had with Echo Mountain. And I know the wildland crews had big challenges at Echo Mountain, was because of our terrain and access to different parts of the fire. So hope that answered your question.
Yes,
Anybody,
thank you.
Any other questions? Well, it seems like that Echo Mountain would have been a scary time to be a firefighter. Were there any contingency plans to, evacuate further north, or, even to like Newport?
Not clear to Newport, but definitely plans to further into Lincoln City. It was, evacuations were driven by the wind and where the fire was going. And it was basically going in from the northeast to the southwest direction. So mainly geography, topography is what drove the direction and drove where they decided to put the evacuation zones in.
Doretta.
So first, I'd like to compliment everybody for getting the fire under control as fast as you did. It could have been a whole lot worse. Could you give us maybe your top 3 tips to homeowners, how to make our houses a little bit more fire safe?
I'd love to, and thank you for that. That's an excellent question, and one that you're going to see us talk a lot more about. And again, that's kind of one of our lessons learned, is that we need folks in Lincoln County to really understand that these types of fires can and do happen, and we need to be prepared for them. So top three things. Big thing is about creating a defensible space around your home. And by that, there's several things that can be done. One is trimming up limbs. You know, we love our trees. We know that, and they grow really good here, but keeping them limbed up at least 10 to 12 feet off the ground, that creates a break between what we call the ground fuels and the fuels up in the canopy. And it takes away what we call ladder fuels. And so that's a big one. Keeping combustible debris, leaves, pine needles, things like that, keeping them off your roof, cleaning out your gutters, and keeping them away from the home. Also, you know, a lot of people here have decks, wood decks. I got one on my house too. But keeping combustibles away from that, so it can't get up, so a fire can't get up underneath that. Also, you can look at keeping firewood away from your home. You know, a lot of us burn wood, and so if you stack your firewood, not having it up against your house, but having it a distance away is a very good thing to do. There's a lot of things that can be done, and we encourage anyone who has questions to contact local fire agency and ask. We have handouts, we have flyers. We would be happy and willing to go out.
It looks like he might have froze up on us there.
Might be a good handout to have to new homeowners, Freddie.
Yeah, that would be a good idea to really share
Especially
some of those
coming-
tips.
Especially those coming from the desert and are not used to living in forests.
That's true. No, I think Rob froze up on us here, so I'll just wait a minute to thank him, see if he reconnects. Maybe in the meantime, let's see. Rob, are you back?
Bet he logged off just to log back in.
Yeah, could have. We'll give him another second here.
Hello, I'm back.
There you are.
I apologize. Somehow it dropped me and put me right back. Go figure. Anyways, I just want to say thank you for allowing me on here and being able to speak about the fire department. Anybody has any questions or anything, feel free to reach out to us. It looks like, I think Doretta has a question.
Before you got cut off, you were talking about a handout. Is that something that we can download off of the website somewhere?
So there are, if you go to Lincoln County Emergency Management onto their website and click on, they have a bunch of different topics. Go to wildland fires and they have stuff there. Also, the State Fire Marshal's Office website has handouts as well. I don't know if we have them on our website, but if not, I'll make sure that they get on there. Also, we do have them at the fire station as well.
I have a. Go ahead, Amy.
I just wanted to say that I've been following you guys on Instagram, and I love the posts you've done. But maybe we could include some of these tips every once in a while. But I love the history that you've been posting on there. It's cool.
Thank you, and that's a great idea. Thank you, Amy. And I'll have my folks. I'm not really an Instagram guy. I'm not a big social media guy, so I have to rely on my younger members to be able to do that. But yes, we absolutely can get some of that information on there. That's a great idea. So thank you.
Let's see, Keith.
Rob, can you share with us how you interact with the Red Cross?
Sure, that's a great question. We have a great relationship with the Red Cross. Mike Johnson is our local contact for the Red Cross. So we interact with them in a couple different ways. Probably the most obvious is when somebody needs some help after a fire. They can't stay in their home. We call the Red Cross to come help them with providing temporary housing. They also provide clothes, meals, things like that to help folks get back on their feet. We also work with them on with sheltering. Red Cross was big part of the sheltering plan that we had to do during Echo Mountain. Also, they have a smoke detector campaign that they have been working on. It got put on hold because of COVID, but it's actually going to start back up again. And we're partnering with them on a hybrid program where we, as the fire department, will go in and install the smoke detectors. And then the Red Cross will come in and talk with the folks about home fire safety and providing some tips and advice that for folks on how to make their home more fire safe. So good question. Thank you.
Bob, did you have a question?
Yeah. Hi, Rob. I listen to the radio quite often, and I hear your ads looking for volunteers. Are your volunteers getting older or younger, or you have plenty of volunteers?
A little of both. We always could use more volunteers. I do have I have a portion of my volunteers that are getting older, and then but we also have some young volunteers right now. We have about 30 folks on our roster. At any given time, we will typically get about 5 to maybe up to 10 volunteers that will show up when we have a fire. So to give you folks kind of a snapshot of what it takes to fight a structure fire, a typical fire in let's say a home. So remember, we have 3 firefighters on duty at any one time. It takes at least 10 to 15 firefighters to fight a residential house fire. If the fire is a commercial fire, you can double that number of how many firefighters that are needed. So when you put 3 firefighters on duty and between 5 and 10 firefighters that show up, volunteers, and again, remember, not all of those can fight fires. Some of them cannot. So we end up having to call our neighbors for help. In fact, any fire in Lincoln County, you're going to see more than one fire agency. That's just the reality of where we're at today for staffing and what it takes to fight a fire. So yes, we're always looking for more volunteers. The average length of time that we have a volunteer, and this isn't just unique to Newport, this is the same challenge that fire services across the country and here in Oregon have, is the average length of time we have a volunteer is about 3 years, which doesn't seem very long. With that being said, we also have volunteers that have been on with our department for over 25 years, and we're very grateful to have them. So,
is a volunteer or is it a compensated volunteer?
It is a compensated volunteer. They do get reimbursed after they've completed their initial training. We do provide a reimbursement for training time and also for the calls that they respond to. We also have a shift program where we reimburse folks for coming here and staying at the station, riding on the first out apparatus for either a 12 or a 24-hour shift.
All right, let's see. I guess we have time for one more. Doretta.
So you were talking about the manpower required to fight a residential fire or a commercial fire. How much does that decrease if there are sprinkler systems in the building?
Well, it definitely does decrease because sprinkler system, although they have different functions depending on whether it's a sprinkler system inside a home versus inside of a hotel, motel, or a commercial building, it definitely decreases significantly. Typically, a fire that's in a sprinkler building will be kept to a portion of one room, usually either be out or be smoldering by the time we get there. As opposed to one that does not, and the fire is allowed to freely grow. And remember, a fire doubles every minute. It doubles in size every minute. It's actually quicker than a minute now. Fire inside a residence, from the time it starts, you have less than 2 minutes to get out before the smoke will overwhelm you and you can't escape anymore.
Do all of the municipalities in Lincoln County now require sprinkler systems in commercial and or multifamily?
So the requirements for sprinkler systems are set up in the Oregon Fire Code, which we adopt. Well, at least here in Newport, we adopt the fire code as ordinance. And whether a sprinkler system is required depends on what the use of what the property is going to be, and also its square footage. So it varies is the short answer.
Thank you.
All right, boy, great information, and kudos to you and the Newport Fire Department for keeping us all safe. So Rotary has been working to eliminate polio in the world, and as a thank you for coming on and speaking to us today, we're going to vaccinate 50 children against polio in your name. So thanks for joining us, Chief Murphy. It was great having you, and hope you'll come back and see us again soon.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you everyone for having me. I appreciate the ability to talk to you and the support we receive in the community. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I think I'll turn it over to Jim for attendance and makeups.
Okay, thank you, Freddie. This was another great meeting. We had pre-makeups, we had 62.5%. After makeups, 74.1%. And I'd like to point out this makes 7 meetings in a row. We've been at 70% or above with our makeups, post-makeups attendance. This matches our previous record streak in October and September of last year. So everybody come back next week and set a brand new world record of 8 meetings in a row, 70%. Woo woo, crowd goes wild. It doesn't get any more exciting than this on Zoom, I'll tell you what. But it does if you're waiting for the membership incentive award, and that is $5 this week. Unfortunately, it'll be $10 next week because the sad trombones are playing for Jeff Lickman. Jeff is the winner, but not here to win. So $10 next week. And with that, I'll turn it over to Sonia for the 50-50, and she's got the big wheel.
All right, well, hopefully you are seeing the big wheel. We have collected $90 for the 50-50 today. So the grand prize winner will get $45, and that is going to be, oh, it looks like Jim Wendell.
All right, well, congratulations, Jim. And hey, boy, you have that system down, Sonia. That's perfect.
I even blew on my screen to get it to stop, Sonia, but now I got a bunch of stuff on my screen.
Blow it the other direction next time. Maybe that'll work. John, do we have a social media incentive?
Yeah, we do, Freddie. It's going to be, well, he didn't win the 50-50, but he won the social media, Keith Nelson.
All right, congratulations. All right, so any last minute announcements? I don't see any. Okay. So again, no noon meeting next week, but we're going to have our first inaugural happy hour at 6 o'clock next Thursday. Hope everyone can join us for that. It sounds like a lot of fun. And then the following Thursday, we'll resume our noon meetings. And I think the program for that one will be the Students of the Month. And we have 3, I believe, the Thursday after next. So thanks everyone for, oh, let's see, I guess I better finish off with the 5-way test. Let's see, how about Doretta, would you like to take us out with that? Let's see, did we lose her? All right, I'll do the 5-way test today.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was muted.
Oh, there you are.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Where were you, Doretta?
What's that?
Where were you?
Never
mind. I don't want to know. I don't want to know, Doretta. I don't want to know.
All right, let's start over. So Rotary, the 5-way test of the things we think, say, or do. 1, is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
2, is it fair to all
Fair
concerned?
to all concerned.
3, will it build goodwill and better friendships? 4, will it be beneficial to all concerned? And 5, if you show up next Thursday night, is it fun? Yes, it can be. Bring
All
your
right, thank you, Doretta. Nicely done, and see everyone next time. Have a great week.